One ingredient hiding inside everyday foods is quietly fueling heart attacks, strokes, and heart failure across the world. Most people never suspect it. It sits in your kitchen right now. You use it almost every day, sometimes several times a day. It's inside foods you were taught to trust, foods that look clean, healthy, and heart-friendly. But inside the body, it can trigger a slow chain reaction that damages your cardiovascular system year after year. The danger is not immediate, it builds quietly, and for men over 50 the stakes become much higher. Because after 50 your arteries are no longer as flexible as they were in your 30s. Blood vessels stiffen gradually. Blood pressure regulation becomes more sensitive, and the heart muscle itself has less tolerance for metabolic stress. That means when the wrong dietary signal repeatedly enters your body day after day, the damage compounds. Not in hours, not even in weeks, but over years, until one random moment changes everything. Maybe you're walking through a store. Maybe you're getting ready for bed. Maybe you're sitting at the dinner table. Suddenly your chest tightens, your arm feels numb, your speech becomes difficult, and life splits into two chapters: before the event and after it. I'm Dr. Ryan Whitmore, and today I want to reveal the ingredient cardiologists increasingly warn their patients about. Not because it's rare, but because it's everywhere in the modern diet. And the most dangerous part is that it doesn't look threatening, it doesn't taste dangerous, and most people consume it daily without realizing how much they're actually getting. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through 5 important things every man over 50 needs to understand. First, what this ingredient really is and why heart specialists are paying closer attention to it. Second, how food manufacturers hide it under dozens of different names on ingredient labels. Third, the so-called healthy foods where it secretly shows up the most. Fourth, what actually happens inside your arteries when your body processes it. And finally, a simple 4-week strategy many patients use to dramatically reduce it without feeling like their diet has become miserable. But before we go further, I want to say something important. This isn't about scaring you, it's about clarity. Heart disease remains the leading cause of death worldwide, and adults over 50 carry the highest risk. But what many people misunderstand is this: a large percentage of cardiovascular disease isn't random. It isn't just genetics, and it certainly isn't simply the unavoidable result of aging. In many cases, it's the predictable outcome of small daily habits repeated thousands of times over the years. Especially one habit that became common only in the modern food system. So let's talk about it. The ingredient is Z-added sugar, not the natural sugar inside whole fruit, not the occasional teaspoon of honey. The real problem is Z sugar intentionally added to processed foods, and it appears in places where most people never expect it: bread, salad dressings, breakfast cereals, granola bars, sauces, flavored yogurts, even foods marketed as low-fat or heart-healthy. This isn't simply about sweetness. It's about the metabolic signals your body receives when large amounts of refined sugar repeatedly enter the bloodstream. And cardiologists worry about this because sugar doesn't damage the cardiovascular system through just one pathway. It affects several systems at the same time. First, it raises triglycerides. Triglycerides are a form of fat circulating in the bloodstream. When sugar intake becomes excessive, the liver converts extra sugar into fat molecules. These fats travel through the blood and can contribute to plaque buildup inside artery walls. Many people focus only on LDL cholesterol numbers, but cardiologists pay close attention to triglycerides because elevated levels often signal deeper metabolic stress. Second, added sugar weakens protective cholesterol. HDL cholesterol plays an important role in cardiovascular health because it helps transport excess cholesterol away from arteries. Think of it as part of your body's cleanup system, but diets high in added sugar are strongly associated with lower HDL levels, which means the cleanup crew becomes smaller, while the buildup continues. Third, sugar influences blood pressure regulation. Most people assume salt is the only dietary factor involved in high blood pressure, but large amounts of sugar affect insulin signaling, kidney sodium handling, and the way blood vessels regulate tension. For adults over 50 whose arteries are already less elastic, this can gradually push blood pressure in the wrong direction. But the fourth effect is the one that concerns cardiologists the most: inflammation inside the arteries. When sugar intake remains consistently high, it contributes to chronic inflammatory stress in the vascular system. And inflammation does more than just irritate artery walls. It destabilizes plaque over time. Fatty plaques build up inside arteries. But when those plaques become inflamed, they become fragile. If one ruptures, the body forms a clot, and that clot can suddenly block blood flow. If the blockage happens in the heart, it causes a heart attack. If it happens in the brain, it causes a stroke. This is why cardiovascular events often seem sudden. The damage builds silently for years. Then one unstable plaque turns it into an emergency in seconds. Now here's the frustrating part. Food companies know people are becoming cautious about the word sugar. So instead of removing it, they often disguise it. On ingredient labels, sugar appears under dozens of different names. You might see ingredients like brown rice syrup, fruit concentrate, cane juice, maltodextrin, dextrose, or agave nectar. To the average shopper, those look like completely different ingredients. But inside the body, they all trigger the same metabolic response. Sugar entering the bloodstream again and again. Once you understand this, something interesting happens. You begin to see it everywhere, and that awareness gives you a powerful advantage. Because when you can recognize hidden sugars on a label, you can start protecting your arteries immediately. In the next part, I'm going to expose the everyday foods people eat believing they are healthy. But many of them contain shocking amounts of hidden sugar. And the first one surprises almost everyone. Now that you understand where added sugar hides and why cardiologists take it seriously, the next step is recognizing where it quietly enters your daily routine. And this is where many people are shocked. Because the biggest sources of hidden sugar are not always desserts or candy. They are foods marketed as healthy, natural, or heart-friendly. These are the products people eat every single day believing they're protecting their health. But in reality, many of them are slowly pushing the cardiovascular system in the wrong direction. Let's go through the most common ones. The first trap is low-fat fruit yogurt. When manufacturers remove fat from yogurt, they also remove much of the flavor and texture that makes it satisfying. To compensate, large amounts of sugar are added. A single small cup of flavored yogurt can contain 20 to 25 grams of sugar, sometimes even more. That's close to the entire daily limit recommended by many health organizations. Your body doesn't benefit from low fat if it comes with a heavy sugar load. The second trap is granola bars and energy bars. These are often marketed as clean fuel, fitness snacks, or healthy convenience foods. But when you read the ingredient list carefully, you'll often find several forms of sugar stacked together. Brown rice syrup, honey, fruit concentrate, cane sugar, molasses. What looks like a health product can easily contain as much sugar as a chocolate bar. In many cases, these bars are simply desserts wearing a fitness label. The third trap surprises many people. Fruit juice. Juice may come from fruit, but it behaves very differently in the body. When fruit is turned into juice, most of the fiber is removed. Fiber is important because it slows the absorption of sugar. Without fiber, the sugar from fruit enters the bloodstream much faster. A large glass of juice can deliver the same sugar load as a soft drink. And frequent juice consumption has been linked to higher triglycerides and increased cardiovascular risk. The fourth trap is breakfast cereal. Many cereals marketed as whole grain or heart healthy contain 10 to 15 grams of sugar per serving, and most people unknowingly pour 2 servings into their bowl. That means the day often begins with a large spike in blood sugar before your body has even had a chance to stabilize. If sugar appears among the first ingredients on the label, your metabolism is starting the morning under unnecessary stress. The fifth trap is low-fat sauces and dressings. Barbecue sauce, ketchup, teriyaki sauce, sweet chili sauce, even some salad dressings. When fat is reduced in these products, sugar is often added to maintain flavor. 1 tablespoon may seem small, but most people use several tablespoons without realizing how quickly the sugar adds up. The sixth trap is commercial bread. Many packaged breads contain added sugar in each slice. 2 slices of bread for a sandwich can easily provide 8 to 10 grams of sugar before anything else is added. It doesn't taste sweet, but the sugar is still there. The seventh trap is sports drinks and flavored waters. Unless someone is performing intense physical activity for extended periods, these drinks provide unnecessary sugar. Hydration does not require sweetness. Plain water, mineral water, unsweetened tea, or black coffee are far better choices for everyday hydration. The eighth trap is dried fruit and trail mixes. When fruit is dried, the water is removed and the sugar becomes highly concentrated. Add chocolate pieces, yogurt coatings, or sweetened nuts, and the result becomes a dense sugar load that's easy to overeat. The ninth trap is flavored plant milks. Vanilla almond milk, chocolate oat milk, sweetened soy milk. Many of these contain 10 to 16 grams of added sugar per glass. Unsweetened versions are usually a far better choice. And the 10th trap is protein and fitness products. Protein bars, protein cookies, meal replacement shakes. These products often contain 15 to 25 grams of sugar despite being marketed as health foods. In reality, many of them are simply sugar products with added protein. One large analysis examining more than 60,000 packaged foods found that nearly 75% of them contained added sugar, even when the products were marketed as healthy. So once you understand this pattern, the next question becomes obvious. What exactly is this sugar doing inside the body? The process begins the moment sugar enters your bloodstream. First comes rapid absorption. Added sugars, especially in processed foods or drinks, enter the bloodstream quickly because they lack fiber or other slowing nutrients. Blood sugar rises sharply. Next comes insulin release. The pancreas releases insulin to move glucose out of the bloodstream and into cells. But when this happens repeatedly day after day, cells gradually become less responsive to insulin. This condition is called insulin resistance, and it is strongly linked to cardiovascular disease. The third step involves the liver. Fructose, a major component of added sugar, is processed primarily in the liver. When intake becomes excessive, the liver converts that sugar into fat molecules. Those fats are packaged into triglycerides and released into the bloodstream. Over time, these particles contribute to plaque buildup inside arteries. Then comes arterial damage. Sugar molecules can attach to proteins inside blood vessels through a process called glycation. This process stiffens the vessel walls and reduces their flexibility. Imagine the inside of arteries slowly becoming less elastic and more fragile. Finally comes chronic inflammation. Inflammation weakens the protective cap on arterial plaque. When that cap ruptures, a clot forms. That clot can suddenly block blood flow, and that is the moment when a heart attack or stroke occurs. But there is good news. The cardiovascular system can respond surprisingly well when harmful patterns are corrected. You don't need extreme diets or complicated programs. What many patients benefit from is a simple 4-week reset strategy. Week 1 is awareness. Do not change everything immediately. Start by reading ingredient labels and noticing where added sugar enters your daily routine. Awareness creates control. Week 2 is eliminating sugary drinks. This single step often produces the fastest improvement in blood sugar and triglyceride levels. Replace soda, sweet tea, sports drinks, and juice with water, sparkling water, black coffee. Week 3 focuses on fixing breakfast and snacks. Choose foods that stabilize blood sugar. Eggs, plain Greek yogurt, unsweetened oatmeal, nuts, avocado. Protein and healthy fats in the morning help prevent large sugar spikes later in the day. Week 4 is about simplifying meals. Choose whole foods with short ingredient lists. If a packaged product contains many ingredients and several forms of sugar, it's usually best to leave it on the shelf. During the first couple of weeks, some people experience cravings, headaches, or irritability. This is normal. Sugar stimulates reward pathways in the brain. But studies show that cravings often drop dramatically within a few weeks once intake is reduced. As sugar consumption decreases, many people notice improvements in energy levels, sleep quality, blood pressure, and triglyceride levels. You do not need perfection. You need consistency. A simple approach many patients follow is the 90-10 rule. Avoid added sugar most of the time. Allow occasional flexibility without guilt when life calls for it. Your heart was never designed to depend on added sugar. And once you start recognizing where it hides, protecting your cardiovascular system becomes much easier. If this information helped you see your daily food choices differently, share it with someone you care about. You never know whose heart you might help protect. I'm Dr. Ryan Whitmore. Thank you for taking your health seriously. I'll see you in the next video.